5 years have passed since the release of GTA 5. Nearly 100 million units sold as per recording of this video, and 5 years later the game is still in the top 10 of the most played games. And now it even sells tremendously well. And through all that has happened, the good, the bad and the ugly, you cannot deny that Rockstar has done an outstanding job keeping this game alive. And with a monumental event coming up quickly, a little title named Red Dead Redemption 2, I wanted to take this time to create this recap of the game we all came to love and hate. This is GTA 5, 5 years later. Let's go back to the very start, back to 2013. Gamers waited for this moment, and all over the world people stood in line to pick up the long-awaited and long-delayed GTA 5, and for good reason. The last time people got their fix of GTA was with GTA 4 that released back in 2008. With a Metascore of 98, this game was universally deemed as an absolute piece of art. A game that redefines open world and storytelling. So needless to say, after 5 years we were ready for the next gigantic leap in gaming history. And on the evening of the launch, GTA 5 became a titan in the gaming industry, shattering sales records, reviews to plateau next to the masterpiece that is GTA 4, and overwhelmingly positive reception from gamers around the world. This was a GTA people have been waiting for, well, at least for most people. Some were disappointed by GTA 5's story arc, and yes, arguably GTA 4's story was indeed better. The grim tale of our favorite Eastern European and his cousin with a bowling fetish was more gripping and rolled better. Bowling puns. But if I take a stroll through memory lane, I remember that the story gripped me enough to keep me playing until the very end, and the only true gripe I had was Franklin's role in all of this, who for whatever reason just seemed to float in between Trevor and Michael. He could literally have been cut from the game and it would have made a massive difference. But what Rockstar did with the story, what they did with the multiple protagonists and the system around it, was an extraordinary feature. The way you could change angles within and outside of missions, how Franklin was better at racing, Michael better at shooting, and Trevor, well, being better at being Trevor, it was all innovative and well executed. Where GTA 5 lacked in story, it prevailed in innovation. But the story, the characters and gameplay is never at the forefront of any Rockstar game title. No, the true star of GTA 5 is the world. Just like in every GTA title, the world feels alive, believable and real. A satirical depiction of a modern day America. It is something that Rockstar nails every single time with their games. They are simply the masters of the open world genre. And besides all of that, the game is chock full of mysteries, Easter eggs and secrets, which even 5 years later people are trying to unravel. But there was something missing, something that would shape the gaming landscape for the franchise for the years to come. GTA Online did not release with GTA 5. Rockstar stated it was so the players could get used to the world of Los Santos and have fun with the single player environment and the story they spent years upon years to create. To let people enjoy everything that this game had to offer at their own leisure, without having that online option sitting there in the corner of your eye. And 2 weeks after the launch, GTA Online released. And boy, what a release it was. Connection issues, save file corruptions, but Rockstar, they warned us for this. They said there will be typical growing games for an online game, including, but not limited to, crashes, glitches, crazy bugs, gameplay modes, mechanics that needs rebalancing, and even other surprises. Even in GTA 5 story mode, some of you have might seen the very odd and amusing little glitches out there last week. Reading through these articles shows a different Rockstar than what we know today. They even mentioned the roadmap for GTA Online, where they talked about what they were working on in the first few weeks of GTA. For instance, the content creator, Beach Bum Pack, Capture the Flag and, well, Heist. Well, the last one didn't quite make it in the first few weeks, but hey, a good effort nonetheless. After 2 weeks, the game was thriving. Thousands upon thousands of players enjoyed the game, working together, obtaining those beautiful apartments, high-end vehicles, and of course the prestigious Adder. Communities started forming. We had photographers, job creators, stunters, racers, competitive players, money grinders, And this one, of all the things, is to me the most fascinating thing about GTA Online. Within the world, different niche groups started forming and hanging out, actual real communities with their own special traits, ambitions and interests formed within a fictional world. And these tightly knit communities form the backbone of GTA Online. These communities are the reason that this game is still alive after 5 years. That's how well of a job Rockstar has done. They've not created a game, they've created an online experience, a social playground. In what game can you go from playing a round of tennis, to jumping in a car to rob a store, to steal a helicopter, to skydive off a mountain, to try and stop a train? But only to find that the train never stops, no matter how hard everyone did try. Oh, the good old days. But I can't speak of the good without mentioning the bad and the ugly. Something was stirring, something looming on the horizon that nobody saw coming, except for a handful of people who got to see the game prior to launch. PSU reported one day before the launch that GTA 5 single player would feature microtransactions. They said, "Head into an ammunition store in Los Santos to buy a weapon and you'll see the option to access the PlayStation Store. During our playthrough, the PlayStation Store wasn't accessible, so we can't exactly see what we'll be able to purchase. But the fact that we're specifically browsing through a weapon store means that we'll be able to purchase extra artillery and or upgrades via the store." This was amongst the first mentions of the game having microtransactions. A crafty player on Reddit who goes by the name of 1880 found more information regarding microtransactions. He said, "I may be wrong and I sincerely hope I am, but to me this looks like the explanation of why it is so hard to make money within the game. At some point, maybe when GTA Online starts, you're supposed to buy in-game money with real money? This seems very un-Rockstar-y to me." A lot of players speculated that the microtransactions were for single player, and do keep in mind, during the times of these articles and during the times that these players mentioned this, there was no GTA Online and there were no actual microtransactions in the game. But it slowly became apparent that Rockstar probably tried to experiment with those in single player, but decided against it and implemented them into GTA Online. And I could talk upon hours about why shotguns ruined GTA Online for a lot of players. But why not listen to the Clams, who posted on the same Reddit thread 5 years ago, a few days before GTA Online launched. "It's still wrong. It's a competitive online game in which you earn money by completion of heists and missions. Those rich players who have money to spare on in-game money will be at a much higher advantage than those who can't afford it. With that comes better armor, better weapons, better vehicles, a huge jump on the stock markets. Pretty soon the best players will be a small circle of wealthy gamers, while the rest of us actually have to play the game to earn cash." That breaks the community vibe right off the bat. Now of course the stock market never made it in GTA Online, basically because it's a form of gambling. Rockstar allowing people to buy real money and then invest that on the stock market to have people lose their in-game and real money perhaps, well, that would be a recipe of some court disasters. Now the Clams pretty much nailed the outline of some of the things that is wrong with GTA Online in this day and age. Of course glitchers and modders are the main source of all of these issues, yet shortcuts definitely played a role in this as well. After a few months, GTA Online was bumbling along. And that was it. It was bumbling along. Nothing groundbreaking got added. A lot of smaller DLCs like the first Beach Bombs, High Life, I'm Not a Hipster, Flight School got implemented, but nothing that big that would keep players truly interested. There were no great innovative DLCs. It was more of the same. And this was the only moment in the history of GTA Online that GTA was actually dying. Players left the game because there was not enough content, there was not enough things to do. Sure, you can play tennis, yes you can rob a store, but what is the point? If you try and imagine GTA Online right now without all the grinding and businesses, well quite frankly, there would not be a whole lot left to do besides the standard racing and the deathmatches. And that was simply not enough to keep the players interested in the game. Something had to change. And change it did. Rockstar added the much awaited Heist, and by the hundreds of thousands, players started returning. But this was just a temporary boost in players, and that number would fall quickly. Rockstar realized adding a bunch of small cheap DLCs was not enough incentive for players to keep their interest in the game. Because what would be the point of playing the game if you could fairly easily get massive amounts of money and acquire every vehicle and property that way? So Rockstar had to figure out a way to keep the game interesting for a longer period of time between DLCs, something to keep the players playing. So over time, they changed 3 different things about the DLCs. First of all, drip feeding. A term you hear a lot in the GTA community. For those unfamiliar, drip feeding is when Rockstar releases a DLC but keeps certain vehicles or missions tucked away to release at a later date. A good example is the Terabyte in the latest DLC, After Hours, which came several weeks after the DLC released. This would stretch out the content of DLCs over longer periods of time, instead of presenting it all at once. Second of all, bump up the prices, making the vehicles and properties more expensive. Kotaku summed it up greatly with this picture. In order to become the ultimate criminal entrepreneur, you would need a lot of money. A lot of money equals a lot of time playing the game. And lastly, the most important one, money grinding. This is at the core of current day GTA Online with all the newly implemented businesses. And it really is a fascinating change. When GTA came out, all you could truly do were contact missions, deathmatches and races. Free mode was sort of less a playground, a social meeting spot for all players to do whatever, a place to show off all the things you've earned, from fancy apartments to your 10-car garage filled with the most expensive and luxurious automobiles. But this aspect and the role of free mode has completely changed. Now the tables have literally been turned. Free mode is the place to make money. Racing, deathmatches and all those jobs became a social hub to hang out or compete. Obtaining money was always at the core of GTA as a franchise. It's what the game is all about. But there's a difference between obtaining money and grinding for money. The free mode business missions to obtain money are quite frankly very repetitive, but necessary to keep up with the higher priced vehicles, which often get obsolete a week later because a new version that is faster or has more firepower just got released. But is this really a bad thing? It really depends on who you ask. Me as a gamer, I value strong gameplay over grinding. That is why I can't get into games like Destiny. That is why I lost my way with GTA Online. But there are people who enjoy the new GTA, people who enjoy the grind. They see the money and things they can buy and love the work and dedication they have to put into it. But the world changed, and not only how people play the game. And this has been said about a million different times now, but it's a point I have to make to paint the complete picture. If you look at what GTA became, it's become quite crazy. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this point because quite frankly, every human being who plays GTA in 2018 knows. Back in the day, there were no flying cars, flying motorcycles, orbital cannons, bunkers and all those crazy things. For me personally, I give Rockstar probably too hard of a time in regards to these big updates which keep changing the world. The updates who make it more of a war zone. Because quite frankly, 5 years in, this is exactly what keeps people talking and keep the game interesting. I always find myself getting excited for DLCs just to go back and to see what kind of crazy things they added. And without these big crazy things, the majority of the players would probably have moved on to different games a long time ago. And here we are, 5 years later. GTA 5 went through turbulent times. From the typical Rockstar delays to the banhammer going down on all mods, from the lack of single player DLC to the amazing Heist DLC. And we haven't even touched upon modders going rampant, the countless ways to glitch money, the lawsuits Rockstar got into, the YouTuber community and all its drama, the loading times. But here's the thing, for every negative point that I can mention about this game, there are 20 positive things, and for every 20 positive points there are 40 negative ones. And it goes on and on. But at the end of the day, here I am sitting 5 years later writing this near enough essay on a game that I owe a lot to. I met so many awesome people, had opportunities that I would never have gotten. When I was young, I dreamed about working for Rockstar, and it wasn't that long ago that me and the 8-Bit Bastards collaborated with Rockstar on a very special video. Through GTA 5, I ended up in the Guinness Book of World Records. I managed to meet childhood heroes, have this audience to talk to and argue with on occasion. I got to make a music video in a game for a big UK band. Got to meet Rockstar themselves and go for a beer and a burger with them in London. I got to meet Michael, Trevor and Franklin, worked with IGN, the list goes on and on. So at the end of the day, whenever I get upset with Rockstar when things change in GTA Online, it comes from a good heart with much love for the game. And although my Dutch temperament often gets in the way, I'd like to say one last thing. Thank you for these last 5 years.